Hey, what's up, fam? We're still in a kind of transitional period for My Hero Academia, in between arcs. We're still in that spot where it's not really the last arc that we just had. They're just kind of wrapping up just basic dialogue and any plot points. Characters just seem to be chatting and mingling really in a lot of this, and then just some speculation on what's going on with Deku's quirk, and it just hopefully building up for the next arc. Because I talk about the next arc, I think will be pretty interesting. I like the beginning of the whole like class 1A against 1B arc, but I didn't like the really. I'd say the second half, but I like the first two rounds, and then I don't know. I think round 3, 4, and 5 were just kind of boring. Like I don't know. I was actually really hyped for Todoroki's power upgrade reveal, and then it turned out to be really lackluster. And then 4 and 5 were Bakugo and Deku just like their team steamrolling the other team. So I don't know. We got some reveals that might be more interesting in the long run of things, like Deku being able to use all these different powers. I don't really like where it's at right now. I think I've talked about what I would have preferred it to be something like he has all these powers stored up, and he has to get rid of them, and because maybe they somehow hinder growth with the main power, and then he maybe gives the other quirks to the other characters, the other mains, and that would really, I think, give them a means to catch up with him and at least close the gap a bit. But I don't know. As I've said before, I think giving him so many is kind of overkill when we already know that his the strength portion by itself is already top tier, and it should by default be stronger eventually than All Might, just because the way that it works when it passes on, it just kind of slowly evolves. But I don't know. I just don't like how it's kind of progressing in that area. That's just my opinion, though. I mean, when you look at someone like Todoroki and how he's got a lot of hype because he's got two different elemental powers. He's got two different abilities to really kind of go out, so it probably makes him harder to counter. Deku's going to have seven, and each of them is, I'm guessing, going to be pretty useful, but also amped up with one for all. So it's going to be kind of ridiculous. But we see in this chapter, he's got some trouble kind of reusing the Black Whip, which is kind of weird because he understood how to use it before, and now he can't use it at all. I don't know. And he's just trying to figure out how to unlock it. I think he's going to end up unlocking another one in the progress of trying to figure out how to use this one. That's just how I see it kind of going. I don't know. But a lot of the chapters just seem to be kind of focusing around that, and the fact that it's probably related to uh, All for One. And I've seen a lot of speculations and theories that potentially that All for One is Deku's dad, which would be really weird. But I think that would be a really interesting way to really justify Deku becoming as overpowered as he is. Like maybe he did have a quirk originally, but just the way that it was, maybe it's something like All for One or One for All's. Oh, I'm getting mixed up. All for One, where he has to steal it and he just never did, but it's maybe mutated a little bit, and then it's only able to draw out these other hidden abilities uh, within One for All because of that kind of base one that maybe he had from All for One. I don't know. That's literally a theory based off of a fan theory, so I can't really give that any credibility. I'm just saying I think that'd be kind of interesting as well. Is just give him the Darth Vader turn to it. I don't know. We already got all this. If it doesn't, then it could just stay with all the Avatar jokes of yeah, Deku being the Avatar. He's already got Todoroki as Zuko, but I don't know. It what actually kind of had more of my interest in this chapter is what some of the characters were doing when they're all like class 1 and B, 1A and 1B were like hanging out, and you see like some characters just kind of chatting, and I was like looking at a Great Boy, and I can't tell what's going on with him right now. That when he's like in a straitjacket looking at a TV, and his head, he's wearing something on his head. I don't really know what's going on there. I'm a little bit confused about that, but it just it was an interesting kind of setup. I think would have been a lot more enjoyable to see. Just kind of how these characters kind of sum over everything that they learned from that whole bit, and really speculate how they're going to interact in the future. But we did get a really cool part where Todoroki is trying to talk to his dad. He's done talking to Endeavor about the Flash Fire ability, which I think is going to be pretty cool later on in the line. I talked about what exactly was with Todoroki. I find interesting, as well as how cool his power would be if he would just kind of think smart with it and then kind of plan ahead instead of just being like, I'm gonna throw big things of fire and ice at you. I mean, if he just combined them and did like steam explosion based abilities, he could do so much with that. But I don't know. Well, like if I don't know, I said it like 6 times, but we'll see how things go. I know that we saw Mona, I think is how his name's pronounced, just trying to copy Ares' ability to undo the erased quirk on Mirio. And actually, Mirio was like talking pretty harshly about Mona, and he just I don't know, I think it's kind of rude and disrespectful. Kind of or Monoma, I think his name is pronounced. As I'm looking through some of it as I forget, but he talks about how his power doesn't work exactly in the same manner that people probably would assume, like abilities that take energy to be stored up or something in fact to be kind of summed up. And they used fat gum as an example. Is he could use when he copies it, he has the idea of the power, it's the base power, but something like fat gum where he has all that fat kind of built up around him, through normal means of just getting fat. Momona has the power, but he doesn't have the fat, to use. So really, unless he kept the power until he could get that big, it really wouldn't have much of a payout. But Aerie just seems kind of beat up the fact that everyone's everyone's kind of in different ways being affected by her ability, and she doesn't really, she seems a little bummed out about it. But Deku does some nice cheering up on her, and I thought I think that's a lot more interesting of how you see Deku a lot of the time, because he doesn't really fit the underdog idea that was laid out for him early on, and a lot of the praise he gets from the other characters, it just makes the other characters seem like they're just giving him compliments because that's how it's being written. Not that he's earned them, that it's just they want to say nice things to him. Whereas I don't know, it feels a little bit of a hollow hype bit to make him seem more like a hero. But when you see something like this where he's doing some pretty basic but very useful, I think, hero attributes, he's cheering up somebody, not just anybody, a depressed child. It really gives him a pretty good foundation of being a hero in the long run. Just to see he's got those people skills in a lot of ways. He can understand how exactly somebody could be reflecting emotionally off something and be able to cheer him up like that, even if it was in a his example is a little bit childish and silly. It obviously worked, and he knew who he was talking to, so he figured it would be understandable and relatable to Aries. So I thought that was good. I like that bit ending out the chapter, and I like that as the kind of exit for the chapter after most of it was just, hey, let's talk about the power that it shouldn't be too hard to really understand. I don't think you need this much exposition to really go over it, and then just characters talking. But I did like the Todoroki, wanting to train with Endeavor bit that was brought up, and then obviously this kind of interaction with Deku and Eri here in this part. All right, chapter, I'd say. It's definitely been on a pretty slow train recently. I haven't really had too much excitement for My Hero Academia in the last couple months since the disappointment I had with Todoroki's power upgrade reveal. But like I've said, I don't think it's been going bad. It's just not really to what I was hoping for, and not really to my enjoyment. And obviously, some people probably I imagine a lot of people liked it. This arc seems a little bit mixed from a lot of people I've talked to. It probably just because it probably shouldn't have been as long as it was, and maybe just mixed up some of the rounds, so it wasn't like the first two were very interesting, and then the later portion, like the second half, was really just Class 1A steamrolling the other team. But the next arc I think will be good. I have a lot of interest for this potential prison break arc because it could open up a lot of different interesting character interactions and plot potential pieces for the future. So other than that, like I said, tell me in the comments though what you think about this chapter and how you think My Hero Academia has been going. It's not. I don't think of it negatively right now, but I just don't really get excited for what's going on right now in the series. But obviously, with another arc opening up, I think that could easily change. But on that, I'd really appreciate if you thumbs up the video, befriend the like button and subscribe for more. If you, enjoy my reviews, enjoy my content, and check out my other videos to see if there's anything else that you'd like to see. Listen to any of my opinions, or maybe even just dispute what I have to say in the comments. Other than that, I appreciate everyone who's already subscribed, and I thank you all for listening.